when a little boy is kidnapped, trained to be a child soldier, and has to kill or be killed, that's slavery. When a little girl is sold by her impoverished family and then taken to a brothel and tortured if she resists, that's slavery. It's barbaric, it's evil, and it has no place in a civilized world. That's the words of Barack Obama, our president, and he was talking about human trafficking. Human trafficking is not something that's happening away in a foreign country. It's happening on this side of the world, in the United States, in North Carolina, in your backyard. It could touch your family. I have a heart for those that are mistreated, and so I feel compelled to be involved once hearing about human trafficking. It is an evil practice with great disregard to human life, but God has called us to fight that disregard with love and with generosity. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share the details about human trafficking. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you why it's such a growing crime, and I'm going to tell you who is at most risk to be a victim, and finally, I'm going to tell you how you can help. Let's take an up-close look at this terrible tragedy. Human trafficking is a modern-day slavery. There are more slaves in human trafficking today than we've ever had at any point in history. More slavery than ever before. International lawyer Charles Adams, who is a board member for End Human Trafficking Now, says it's one of the gravest and most complex human rights challenges of our time. What is it? Humans are being deceived into thinking that they are getting a way out, a way to a better lifestyle. And according to the authors of Hidden in Plain Sight, Rita Simon and Stephanie Hepburn, they say that once the victim is connected to the captor, they are then imprisoned and they are physically abused and they are threatened to be killed or have their families killed if they try to escape. They're forced into sexual activity or they're forced into manual labor such as farm work. Right here in North Carolina, a company called Million Express Manpower recently recruited 30 men from Thailand, brought them into North Carolina, into Benson, North Carolina, just up the road, put them to work at Howell Farms, and then shipped them off to Louisiana to do after hurricane cleanup from Katrina. They were given no water, no food, no adequate housing. They had to drink the contaminated water from the hurricane. They had to catch pigeons and kill them for their food. This was done under the watch of armed guards, and they got zero pay for their effort. They were humans in slavery. So let's look at why this is growing so quickly. There are two reasons. Human trafficking is lucrative, and it is difficult to prosecute. The startup cost for human trafficking is minimal. The only cost would be the transportation of the victim. Profits are extremely high. Jerry Sieper, who's an investigative reporter for the Washington Times, estimates the annual revenue to be $32 billion. That's $87 million per day being earned for those that are involved with human trafficking. The risk of prosecution is very low. Why? Because the victims are afraid to report. They are afraid that they will be killed or their families will be killed. The customers of the traffickers are doing this in secret, so they are not likely to report the issue. And then the people involved with taking the people captive are usually part of gangs or organized crime, so they have deep pockets and many places to hide. And then if they do happen to get caught, the penalty is lower than the penalty for trafficking drugs. So let's look at what the victim looks like. Who is likely to be a victim? It would be those people in desperate situations. Those that are poverty-stricken or low-educated or living in an underdeveloped country where it's hard to get food and shelter. The United States is one of the top 10 destination places for human trafficking. The University of Dayton, Ohio's Director of Human Rights, Mark Insulaco, estimates 17,500 people are trafficked into the United States every year. They are male, they are female, they are adults, and they are children. Children, in fact, represent 26% of all the forced labor and 21% of all the sexually exploited. So how can we help? It can be reduced if we all work together, and the primary way to address it is to meet these people at the point of their desperation with the true hope, to give them something that is really honest. And we also have to be watching for suspicious activity and be willing to report that. Human trafficking is present-day slavery. There is nobody exempt from the evil. It comes to the child, the adult, the male, the female, but we can stop it if we take action. You can take action by being willing to give them housing, shelter, food, clothing, jobs if you have it, or financial support. Many local organizations are working to help these people out of their desperate situations, and you can help by doing that. Remember, this cruelty may be closer than you would ever imagine, so we have to stop the madness. What if this were your child? After this, please get with me on how you can help.